That's pretty high.
Hmm. Hey, welcome back to another episode of Dirt Diamond Sports Talk. As always, I'm Ryan here with my man Wally. Before we get started, hit that subscribe button, guys. Let's get some downloads, get us into your regular podcast listening list and schedule. You can find us live over on the X, over on the YouTube. And man, tonight, we're going to dig in deep to an Astros team that took 3 or 4 in Detroit, despite being outscored in the series. They won this series with late inning execution rather than consistent offensive dominance, really, when you look at it. The starting pitching, a 6.75 ERA, elite work from the bullpen, though. We're going to dig into a little bit of that conversation. One thing that we noticed, and Wally, we've talked about this a bit, is just repeatedly these guys turned a handful of high leverage swings into victories. These situational opportunities that these guys are now turning into late game victories. We'll dig into tonight's frustrating home opener against Minnesota. Dig a little bit into Peter Lambert's home run problem, maybe the silent offense that
Yeah.
was tonight. An intriguing major league debut from somebody that in the minors was kind of an anticipated move to the majors. Miguel Uyola came up and looked pretty legit tonight. Wally, the Astros spent most of the series against Detroit really doing almost nothing offensively, and then became one of baseball's most dangerous late game teams as soon as that leverage meter turned red and their backs were kind of against the wall. I think this is good because it shows confidence, shows a little bit of resilience, and we haven't seen a ton of that from this team outside of these last probably 5 to 6 weeks, really. But let's play a little bit of devil's advocate here. I think it's also a little dangerous because the team can't permanently depend on winning every game with its last 6 outs.
No, they can't. They had a couple of games in there in Detroit where they played pretty well and scored early enough. Um, when you look at the games that, the last game was a game they scored 7. The game before they scored 8. The one that was really kind of a scary one was the first game. They won 2-1, I believe. Won
Yep.
2-1 on that one. And that was where Imai was just absolutely fantastic. That
Yes.
guy's, he's like totally baseball bipolar. I mean, it's like he'll throw 2/3 of an inning and then he'll throw 6 innings of just absolute gem.
Yep.
But the good news is we're seeing more and more gem. What the Astros are doing uh, is that they're not beating themselves.
Mhm.
They're making the team earn everything. They're playing good ball. They're keeping this. It kind of reminds you a little bit of the old Dallas Cowboys when Staubach was the quarterback. Everybody get upset that they would win at the last second. Well, they always put themselves in a position where they could win at the last second.
It's true.
Yeah.
It's true. Yeah, those late inning numbers. I've got some here. Of the 17 total runs during that series, 12 came in the 7th inning or later. 9 came
Yeah.
in the 8th inning or later, and 7 came in extra innings or the 9th inning. So they only scored 5 runs during the first 6 innings of those games across the entire 4-game series. This is a team that before the Blue Jays series, Wally, this is a team that when behind going into the 6th inning were 0 for 30.
Oh, wow. I didn't realize that.
They were 0 for 30 when down going into the 6th inning prior to the Blue Jays series.
Well, funny on the Sunday game, you're right. You look at when you look at the score. They scored two in the seventh, one in the eighth, four in the 10th. Jack Flaherty started off in that game for the Tigers, and he looked good. The Astros
Mhm.
started getting to him a little bit, although he only gave up 2 hits. He threw 94 pitches, so his pitch count was 17 an inning. They got to Tyler Holton one, and then they got to Kyle Finnegan, and I was really surprised that AJ left Kenley Jansen in the last inning, that second inning.
Yeah.
You know,
Uh-oh, Wally froze. Shoot. Oh, we got you back.
yeah, I'm here.
Okay, we
I
got
could I
Wally
could hear
back.
you. I could
Oh,
hear you.
really? Yeah, you were
Yeah, you
straight
were.
up frozen on this end.
Yeah, well, you were going max headroom on me earlier too.
Oh, that's great. Max Headroom. I had to educate my son about who that was not
Oh
that long
God,
ago.
yeah. I think
Well,
we just
we
lost
can get
half
back
our
into
audience
it.
when we started talking about max headroom.
We might have. Oh
One of the
man, we were
things
talking
when we
about
look at
you before you zipped out. At least on my end, and I can go in and edit this, and we can do something with that gap there. But you were talking about AJ leaving Kenley Jansen.
yeah, I was real surprised on that. You look at what Joe is doing now with Hader.
Mm-hmm.
They had two completely different ways of managing Sunday's game. Hader went in the ninth. Then they're going to go ahead and go with De Los Santos in the 10th.
Mm-hmm.
And if De Los Santos gave it up, De Los Santos was going to give it up.
Mm-hmm.
Hader coming back from his shoulder, Joe is not going to throw him multiple innings. It doesn't look like, especially since he threw 29 pitches that inning.
Yeah.
Even if he had thrown him 15 pitches, I don't think he was bringing him back.
Mm-hmm.
But AJ brought Jansen back, and the Astros teed off on him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was sweet. Paredes, that was just ridiculous.
That
I
was,
mean, I
well,
guess
Walker
it started with
knocked that.
Pena. Yeah, it started with Pena at second, right? And then they intentionally walked Jordan, so they kind of removed Jordan from the situation or from the potential beating, even though Jordan's not been hitting great lately.
No, he's over
And
his
so
last
that brought up,
15.
yeah, so
Six.
that brought up Paredes. Yeah, I guess 16 after tonight. Um, Paredes singled, right? Brought home Pena, and then Walker hit that 3-run banger.
Oh, and he didn't miss it.
No, not at all.
He threw that thing. It was a little inside, kind of leaked towards the middle of the plate, and Walker did not miss it.
Yep.
But that, you win 3 out of 4 on home at home. You get a little concerned that you'd lost the first game of the series here. But one thing we got with the Astros is that you look at where they are right now. This is 1, 2, 3, 4. They've won 6 of the last 7 series, 7 of the last 10.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And we've talked about it before. They haven't swept any of these series. So it's just been a very steady, trudge toward the top, if you want to call it that. They've, and since in those 5 of the last 6 series, they're 14-8. They made up 6 games. And it's over 3 weeks.
Yeah, I mean, I think that it's kind of been one of our keys is just win series, and you scrape back a game to a game and a half ish a week, depending on kind of what the competition's doing, what Seattle's doing. We've seen Seattle and the Rangers kind of go back and forth up there at the top of the West, and so now we're looking at it's a 3-team run there, with the Astros only 2 games behind, the Mariners a game behind, and the Rangers even so they won, but virtually the top of the division is a 500, is playing 500 ball, and they're not playing 500 ball,
Yeah.
but it's a 500 record. but Houston the Rangers have actually been playing decent ball, 7-3 in their
They
last 10, 5
yeah,
game
they
winning
won
streak.
5 in a row.
Yeah. So, the Mariners, they're just, they're 4-6 in their last 10. So kind of the swapping or the cream is starting to rise to the top potentially. And what we really have discussed here over the last few weeks, as far as the AL West specifically. Um, there's been a lot of that kind of going on around the league, and maybe we'll touch that in a little bit with kind of who's our risers and who's our fallers. But one of the things that I've kind of noticed through this, and they talked about it a lot on the broadcasts, is the impact that Isaac Paredes, the guy that so many Astros fans wanted traded before the season, the impact that he's had over these last 3 series at least.
Yeah,
I mean,
he's been so steady.
he's currently
No, the
6
funny
for
thing about
15, 400 average. And this is just against his former team here. Just I mean,
I
he
never
just
thought that
ripped those
people
guys
wanted
apart.
him. I never thought that people wanted him traded per se. What I think people thought was that
Yeah, I lost you again,
that's a
man.
good series. In
There it
fact,
is.
when you
There it
look
is.
at the team against the Tigers, since we're talking about runners in scoring position, 8 for 28. That's 286 with runners in scoring position.
Yeah.
Left a number of guys on, but a lot of that was just from the third game when they left 9 on and were 5 for 14 and with runners in scoring position.
Yep. Yep. Well, not just Isaac Paredes, but it's been the talk is this bullpen has been
Yeah,
absolutely insane for Houston.
absolutely great.
A 1.65 ERA in the Detroit series, while
Now wait a
the starting
second. You're
rotation.
selling my buddy Jake short. You didn't include Jake shutout
I did not
Myers.
include that is
You
that
did
is
not include. Jake was a
that is
good pitcher at
excluding.
Nebraska. Jake was a pitcher at Nebraska.
He
He's
was. You're right.
he's the secret. He's the secret weapon. It was 156 ERA. Jake, here's the line for you. Stop. See, reliever can top this. One inning, no hits, no runs, no walks, no strikeouts, no home runs, 9 pitches, 5 strikes. Give him the Trevor Hoffman Award.
Jake freaking Rake Myers, bro. Jake from Rake Farm, getting out there.
Do you
And
see
doing
that?
it. I did.
Do you see
I
those
did pull
softball
Jake's
pitches he
numbers
was
from it.
throwing?
It
Do you
was
see those
insane.
slow pitch softball pitches he was throwing? It was hilarious.
It was so great. It was so great. Well, yes, with Jake's numbers pulled out, I had a 1.65. With Jake's numbers, you had a what? A 1.56?
One thing though,
Okay.
in all seriousness, people say, how can somebody not hit that stuff?
Yeah.
But these guys, when you've got if you've played slow pitch softball. I remember a guy who was who coached our fraternity team. When guys would come up, they'd play baseball. They said it's a baseball swing.
Yep.
You try to do a baseball swing and you're hitting a softball, you'll pop it up or miss it every time.
Every time. You're
It's
just bang it right in front of the plate.
Yeah, you bang it into the plate or pop it up. It's
Yep.
2 completely different swings. And when that pitch is below normal swing speed, you give them a game or two, they'll catch it. But that first game,
Oh,
they're
yeah.
not.
No, not at all.
And
When you don't see that on a regular basis, you're screwed.
But Jake was the reliever of the series. He ought to be pitcher of the month.
Oh, that's great. I love it. I love it. Well, so yeah.
You know,
So we got not just Jake Myers, but you had AJ Blueball. So 4 scoreless innings
yeah,
across 2 appearances, right?
yep.
Multi-inning leverage rolls. This guy earned Saturday's win. Late inning, he protected those other late inning relievers. His ability to give more than just 3 outs really kind of mattered now. And knowing that this guy's kind of stretched out and can give you multiple innings has been huge. Okert's scoreless streak ended at 7 2/3 innings on Saturday, but he still got that important out when he inherited all those runners. Um, Brian King continues to just provide clean bridge innings. He's kind of that middle guy that you can rely on and throw in there. Josh Hader on Saturday, clean save. He retired Detroit right in order. Sunday, he gave up the 3 walks, 2 strikes, but no runs. He escaped with that bases loaded ninth inning. I think you cited earlier too, using Hader in the ninth inning, a tied game in the ninth on the road. Ended up being a really good decision. It wasn't necessarily the highest leverage moment, but it gave the Astros the opportunity to go into those extra innings and pull out a win.
Well, it was a higher leverage situation because if he gives up a run, they lose.
It's over.
Yeah, it's over. But the De Los Santos gives me the Brian Abreu syndrome. And Brian Abreu
make Coffee nervous.
Oh yeah, he's really he's slid off, and Abreu's kind of on the witness protection program. He pitched a couple of games this series, but really never anyone that was in a leverage situation. That it really feels like they're trying to give him as low leverage a situation they can as in hopes that he's going to pull it back together. The other day, I was which game was it? It was I want to say it was 4. Game 4 after Hunter, they put him in the 7th clean inning when Hunter went out of the game. They had to take him out after 2 innings, 15 pitches, 7 strikes. A hit and a walk and a spot. I wasn't going to let him stay out there and get roasted. The Astros couldn't afford it.
Yep. So what about the starting pitching? There's been some issues here. Obviously, a 6.75 ERA over that Detroit series. You can't keep asking the bullpen for 4 innings on Friday, 5 innings plus on Saturday, 4 innings on Sunday. Continued high leverage work coming out of the pen. Arrighetti had some issues, which interestingly enough, if you guys want to go back 3 or 4 podcasts ago, maybe 5, we talked about a little bit of our concerns in some of the stuff that we had seen in Arrighetti, specifically his command, his strike rate, potential walks given. And, we saw that. We saw that the other night, his fastball missing arm side, breaking balls that were kind of just not competitive, really. A lot of 3-ball counts and putting himself into his own high leverage situations. So I think Arrighetti, what did you see that you think that Arrighetti really it just felt unstable?
Well, here, just looking at the numbers, specifically what you were talking about is Arrighetti was throwing games where he'd have 5 walks, he'd give up a hit, and it wouldn't hurt him. Well, the other day he went 3 innings, he gave up 5 hits, 5 walks. You're talking, 10 runners in 3 innings, and he gave up 8 earned runs. He earned that bad start. We've seen it coming, and what we had said before was that he's not going to give up he's not going to go 6 innings, walk five guys, and then just give up 1 hit because the other team is going to wait on him. They're going to wait him out, and they're going to find the pitch they want to hit. What I'm seeing that he's not landing the curveball like he did before. When he was really doing well, he would land that curveball right on the outside edge. He'd throw that back door curveball he likes to throw.
Yep.
He was landing that, and he's not landing that, and he's hanging it, and he's just not sharp. There's sometimes you don't want to overanalyze this stuff. He just isn't sharp, and I hope he figured it out, because the Astros do need somebody behind Brown, because we saw with Brown the other day, and we've said this for a couple of years. Brown is the Astros' number one. You and I both have a tough time to calling him an ace
Mhm.
because his pitch counts get to the point where he puts the bullpen in some high use situations.
Yep.
Really, right now, you say Brown is the one, but if I had to start a game one right now, just based on how they're pitching, and now granted, Brown is just off the IL. Emi's been their best pitcher the last several times out.
Yep. By far. By far.
You know, and each Emi's got kind of a cool to him.
All
Do you
those
see the
Japanese guys do, though, don't they? It's kind of
well?
interesting
Did
that
you
that
see the interview
swagger
where they
they've
were?
got when they come out.
Did you see the interview, the dugout interview they did with him after that? I think it
I
was on the Sunday
didn't.
game.
I
He just
didn't.
kind of said, or it's either must have been the Sunday game because I didn't see as much of the Saturday game, but he was just kind of sitting back and being cool, and his uh, interpreter was talking to him, and he's got his blue frosted hair or whatever the heck that is, and but
He
he
just
was really the thing that was most interesting about that is he leveled up and said he really doesn't know where that slider is going to go when he lets go of it.
ooh,
He
interesting.
says, it says that throws it. He said he throws it kind of the same way he tries to, but then that traditional and then that backup, he doesn't know which one's going to come out. That's got to be
Yeah.
scary for a batter,
Oh
especially
yeah.
if he can tunnel that
Yeah.
with a fastball.
Oh yeah.
I mean, you basically
Throws you off.
he's throwing a screwball.
Yeah. If you don't know where it's coming and where it's going. Yeah.
So
Man. Go for it.
talk talk about tonight's game. Um, it was frustrating. Lambert was, you know, he was okay until he wasn't.
Yeah.
That first home run that Royce Lewis hit was a slow pitch softball pitch that either one of us could hit out of the park.
Yeah. Pretty
And
much.
I'm
Yeah.
well past my time. Encouraging points. Cam Smith hit two home runs, and both of them were bombs.
It, yeah, great. And Trammell turned on that one and stuck it around the flagpole that or around the foul pole. That was insane. I mean, that was a missile.
Oh yeah, 400. Let's see. I want to say it's
407, I think
412.
I saw.
Yeah,
412. Okay.
417 or 412.
Yeah. Yep.
Cam hit
Yeah. So
Cam hit 837 feet worth of home runs. Carrot home run against um, Lambert was the only one where it wasn't an awful pitch.
yeah.
Caratini just got it. The ball that Bell hit that was a home run. It was just kind of a hit me,
Yeah.
just kind of a hit me pitch, and
It really
you know
was.
it drifted over he tried it inside. It looked like it drifted over the middle of the plate, and he crushed it. Give the team
Just yeah.
credit for coming back. Uh,
Yeah.
Pearson gave up that. Uh, yeah, Pearson gave up that run.
Mm-hmm.
That was kind of a scratch run. Uyola looked good. What I liked most about Uyola was in the second inning, so he got in trouble and he worked himself out.
Yep.
Now he threw 30 pitches. I hope they don't send him back down.
Yeah.
What'd you think about that Walker thing in the ninth inning?
Yeah, we were texting about it as it was kind of happening, and I think that in the grand scheme of watching it, I can see why the umpire decided to call it the way that he did and not give the challenge. Um, but at the same time, in that situation, as an umpire, I feel like there needs to be a certain level of discretion and understanding that when you look at the way that it happened, it appeared to me at least that Walker started to turn the walk to first base and realized kind of late there that he didn't get the call. And then, he was out of the batter's box pretty far before he went to the helmet. And the umpire was like, you too far out and took too long.
Yeah, I thought I understand why the umpire did what he did. I think it would have been a little better to have a understanding of where the situation was. Yeah,
Hmm.
the Walker looked genuinely shocked that that he didn't get the call. It was clearly a
Yeah.
ball.
Yep.
It was clearly a ball, and it was is like to me. It looked like he was turning away from the umpire, not trying not to say something that was going to get him thrown out of the game,
Hmm.
and and he just kind of looked away, and the ump took it as a look into the dugout. You're that's the cardinal rule on this. You can't get help from the dugout.
Right.
I think
Yep.
that's what Brendan Miller, the umpire, was trying to tell him. Um, it would have. It's impossible for the other umpires to say, "Did he get help?"
Right.
The first base umpire is not going to look at that, and that's just a call he had to make.
Yeah.
Uh, you're not supposed to call them separate from the vets than you are the rookies. If that was a rookie, no question. You're talking about a vet who's got a
Yeah.
pretty good idea of the strike zone. I wish they would have let him. Wish they would have done it. Yeah, it changed the game. It added a. You would have added a runner, took away an out. Who
Yep.
knows if Trammell hits a home run with two guys on, and who
Right.
knows if Cam comes behind. I mean, you can construct that any way you want to,
Absolutely.
but
Yeah.
the bottom line is if you're not down 4 runs going into the ninth inning, you got a better chance of winning. You're
Yeah.
pulling to an inside. You're pulling to an inside straight at 5-1.
Yeah,
You
I
are.
think that's where, yeah, yeah. I mean, that's, you've got to, I mean, you have to give the Astros credit for their resilience and for coming back and pulling off an almost, crazy finish there. But at the same time, like we've said, don't put yourself so far in the hole and
Yeah,
put yourself in a situation where a bad call from the ump on one ball determines whether you win or lose a game.
yeah.
That shouldn't, as many pitches as happen during the game and as many at bats that happen during the game, you can't let it all hinge on one bad call like that. And
Jimmy
so,
Johnson. Jimmy Johnson used to say when they went to South Bend, don't put it in the ref's hands because they're
yep.
never going to be against Notre Dame.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, I mean, and that's that's where it is. I mean, the ball always tells the story, and so you
Yeah,
can't leave it up to the ump. So
yeah,
yeah, I think that's where you can't rely on all of your offense to happen literally with two outs in the bottom of the ninth when you're down
yeah,
5-1. So
yep.
yep. So we
So
we
let's
love
talk
talking
about some
about this
risers and
rise of the
fallers.
Astros. Yeah, let's talk a little bit about around the league. There's been quite a few interesting developments over the last few weeks. Specifically, before we hopped on the pod, we were kind of going back to around the mid-May mark and really kind of looking at where things stood then. There's been a few that have really kind of stood out to us as we were looking through some of these numbers. And you and I both said the Phillies and the Braves and what's going on in the NL East is kind of crazy, really. When you look at the fall of the Braves and the rise of the Phillies, there seems to be a potential quick merging of these two teams at the top of the NL East.
Yeah, the Phillies are 38-18 since Mattingly took over. It's kind of interesting because Mattingly is not one of these fiery managers who you think is going to jerk a knot up the guys and make them change the dynamic of the team. But since then, it's been really amazing. On the 15th of May, the Phillies were 22-23, and they were 9 games out. Now they're 47-38, and they're only 3.5 games out. The
What is it with Philly?
Braves
What
the
is it with
Braves the
Philly
Braves have played a
firing a
game under
manager?
500. What's that?
what is it with Phillies with Philadelphia and firing a manager, hiring somebody new, and the fire just gets lit. I mean, they fired
Oh,
Girardi, hired Thompson, and they go on a freaking insane historic run. Fire Thompson, hire Matting, and now here you go again, kind of a crazy historic. I mean, I won't say historic, but this could be a ridiculous comeback if they end up making hay in the East.
yeah, and that the Red Sox are still in the same boat. They fired uh, Cora, excuse me, and they've got Chad Tracy in there. They played about 500 ball. They were 11 and a half out before. They're 12 out now. They're dead man walking.
Yeah,
The
but so like you said, 7-3 in their last 10, and they're on a 5-game winning streak right now.
Well, they took the Yankees out. Could you believe they took the
They
Yankees
did.
four
Yeah.
straight?
Yeah, that's crazy. And they're back now in a positive run differential. They're no longer a
Well, and the
negative run
and the
differential team.
Yankees were several games up. They've lost five in a row now,
Hmm.
and the Rays have won five in a row,
Hmm.
and so now the Rays are back up a game and a half up, and on May 15th they were two games up.
Yep.
So you think the Yankees are about ready to go to the whip, and then they give it back to them. The
Yep.
White Sox have been a surprise, but the thing about that's crazy about the Central Division, AL Central, is how static it's been. We're talking risers and fallers. Everybody's virtually in the same spot that they were 6 weeks ago.
Yep.
The Rangers are playing good ball. The uh, Rangers since the 15th of May are several games over 500. They're what 3 games over 500 now. But no one in the West wants to take off and win it. But the Rangers have won five in a row.
Hmm.
With their pitching, they might be the team that can take off. The Mariners look like they're going to win tonight. They did win. No, they look like they're going to win tonight. We keep on waiting for the Mariners to win. We say this every show, but they don't do it.
Yeah.
Guys, the pitching seems to be great, but they just don't have it.
The Mariners.
The team
Did
that's
win.
really
The
the,
Mariners did win.
yeah, the
Yeah,
team that's
6-2.
really taken off. Team that's really taken off are the Milwaukee Brewers.
Yep.
Since May 15th, they're 12 games over 500. They
Hmm.
were 2.5 out on the Cubs. They're 5.5 up now. The Cubs are playing better. Um, but the Cubs pitching is just not good enough.
Hmm.
It's you and I talked before the season that we thought that the Cubs had the position players and they're probably going to have to go out and get some arms, and they're absolutely going to have to go get some arms. Do they go get
Yep.
a Sonny Gray? A Sonny Gray,
Yep.
like a Sonny Gray would be a great fit for them.
Yeah.
Um,
The
the
Brewers
Cardinals
have the
are,
best record in Major League Baseball against teams over 500.
yeah. Um, the Cardinals were off to a good start since May 15th. They're 2 or 3 games under. They're 3 games under 500. The Pirates are staying right at 500. The Reds are the one team. And you and I remember our pretenders and contenders.
Yep.
We both circled the Reds and say that this just doesn't work.
Yeah.
But when you look at the teams that have really surged, the Rangers are surging, the Phillies are surging. Of course, the Dodgers are leaving everybody in the dust, and the
Hmm.
Brewers are surging.
Yep.
The teams that are falling off, well, the Mets are dead man walking. Mets do Mets things.
Man.
Um, what do you think about the Angels hiring Mozeliak?
I mean, eh, eh, okay. What's it
I
gonna
think at
do?
least
What's it
they've
gonna?
got. I think at least he's an adult in the room.
Well, there's a thing. I guess is you've got a team that's got the likes of Trout on it, and um, yeah, it's I don't know. It's still just what the heck is going on with the Angels?
Well, so what
what
I
are they
think,
really even doing? What are they trying to do? Because this is a team that, I mean, I guess there's 7 games out, so they're not. as pitiful as a few other teams
Well,
across the league,
they're
right?
only not
But
pitiful because none of the rest of the division's not any good.
yeah, well, I mean, and there's nobody to really, yeah, because nobody's beating the hell out of them at all. I mean, they're, yeah, I mean, I guess they're just as good as the Mets technically, 36-49. So you know, eh, yeah, I don't know,
Here's what I
fine,
think. Here's what I think about this thing is that with the Angels, I don't think he's going to be there forever. I think he's the long term. I think he'll be there maybe the end of the year and through next year, just to kind of set things up, put a second set of eyes on it, outside set of eyes on it, and see what needs to be done. Now, the question is Artie Moreno going to let somebody do the job? He is probably the worst owner in Major League Baseball. He and I can't think of a worse one. The Pirates
no,
manager, they're finally spending a little bit of money. Dick Monfort at Colorado is finally changing things up a little bit. Um, at the Mets, all Steve Cohen wants to do is throw money at it.
yeah,
You know,
yep. I mean, so yeah, so the word in
the Mets with
the
Steve.
word from the Angels is that he's hired as the interim general manager and baseball operations consultant to oversee the search for a permanent GM. So
Yeah.
there's no
Well,
plan.
what the
There's no plans
Mets
to keep him around.
we're talking about. What the Mets remind me of with Steve Cohen. They remind me of the rich kid that has the expensive car that's always broken because he won't put oil in it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
I
yep,
mean, he never does the prevent. He just tries to put a coat of wax on it, and David Stearns has a big problem with this because this is, they came close and they didn't like what happened last year, and they've had a last half of the year, and so he changed everything out, and all the pieces he put in just don't fit.
they just don't fit. Yeah, it's and that's it's really it's really kind of a sad story because man, Stearns, what a freaking talent and what a cerebral guy when it comes to baseball and everything that he has already kind of has done. His involvement in Houston, his involvement in Milwaukee, just everything that this guy's done to go to New York and have the opportunity because of the cost and the name and all of that kind of stuff, but then to have to deal with Cohen's BS. Um, and feel like he has to retool and pull all of this, all of these stops out to build some sort of a team that meets the criteria that Cohen wants to put together. It's got to be really frustrating for a guy like Stearns to, have one hand on the, one hand on the throttle and the other hand being held and have with a handcuff tied to a 20-ton brick named Steve Cohen.
Yeah, but when you talk about the risers and fallers, let's talk about just real quickly on the Mets. They've got Carson Bench playing right field. He's a rookie. 257. He's around a 700 OPS. That's fine. Juan Soto, they paid tons of money to, and yes, Juan Soto won a World Series with the Nationals in 19. But they won that series because they threw three starting pitchers that shut the Astros down. Bo
Yep.
Bichette, there were all kinds of red flags on Bo Bichette. You had Marcus Semien brought back in, 35 years old. Yeah, he can still field a little bit, but he's lost a step or two. He can't hit. You didn't get a replacement for Pete Alonso. You're trying to play Mark Vientos tonight at third base and Tyrone Taylor in center fielder tonight. Brett Beatty has been horrible this year.
Yep.
Francisco Alvarez hasn't really come along the way they thought they did. They're bringing up guys like AJ Ewing and hope they can patch the league. They have no pitching.
Yeah.
They started tonight. Started CNL Perez.
Oh my.
CNL Perez was an opener for inning. Then they got Tobias Myers. Kodai Senga came in through 5 innings and then gave it up in the end.
Hmm.
Kodai Senga gave up 2 in the 7th. He threw 5 innings, but still,
Yeah.
he's got a 9.09 ERA.
Yeah.
It's just
Polanco
like
on the IL, Simeon on the IL. Did you say Simeon came back?
I don't know.
I did see
But
that.
it's
I
like
think that
they've
he's
been
still on
cute.
the IL, right?
I think so. They've been too cute by half.
Yeah.
Thinking they're going to put all this together, and it's just typical Mets doing Mets things.
Yeah.
Oh well,
Yep.
maybe the Astros will get them tomorrow night.
Yeah, I think so. This Twins team isn't too tough.
Well, they've been playing well.
They've been playing well, but I think when you compare to what the Astros have been doing lately, this is a team that the Astros should be beating.
They should take
This
this
is a,
series,
this
even
is
though
a
the
team that should
Twins are
take the
playing.
series.
Even though the Twins are playing well, you're at home. You're coming off a good road trip. You played during the day, so you were able to get in early, and they probably got in about 10 o'clock last night, and so
Probably.
um, they should be able to take this. I hope they will. I'm going to be at the game tomorrow night.
Oh, nice. Good stuff. Good stuff. Well, man, we kind of went a little long tonight. We had a couple of those little tech hiccups, though. So
Yeah, we sure
hopefully I can
did.
get in there and I'll edit a few of those out so they don't bug those of you who aren't listening or watching live. But man, yeah, this was it's been a great series. I think 3 or 4 in Detroit, coming home to what happened tonight. Hopefully they lost this game a little pissed off at themselves and come out tomorrow swinging hard. And sometimes it's okay to play a little angry. Sometimes it's
Yep.
okay to play a little angry ball. So
Yep.
all right, guys. Hey, on Spotify, you can leave us a comment. We love seeing those. We'll answer any questions. Hit us up on Twitter at Ryan and Wally. And we've got Dirt Diamond Twitter handle as well. So reach out. Give us some questions. Let us know what you want us to cover on the pod. Until next time, go Stros.
Go Stros.